There's a point of privilege on microphone 1, then we'll go to microphone 3. Go ahead, delegate.
Yes, hello. I was standing here with my gender equity card before you called on the previous speaker. That's my point of privilege that I would like to raise.
I will explain the speaking order, which is fixed, that I cannot amend, which is the pro-con rotation. You can move yourself up a line that you're standing in.
I am pro, and I was...
We went...
You went pro, con...
We went pro-con, pro, and my plan was to go con. The speaker at con mic 3 also has a speaking card.
Yesterday, this card was used in an inappropriate manner. And while I understand in Ontario we note this as equity, even if that, this was also used inappropriately in terms of gender. I want everyone to be mindful that these cards for individuals like myself who identify as a Black woman have no value outside of this space.
Salutations. Glad to be back on the air. This is Navigator speaking, coming to you with the Navigator podcast. Today, I'll be talking about Canada. Because if you haven't known, well, obviously you know, unless you're just brainwashed and propagandized. America, since the president got back into office, has been going through a golden age. And while America's going through a golden age, Canada's going through the opposite. They're collapsing. And it's crazy. And I wanted to show you something that really does highlight that. Because they voted the same party that got them into where they're at. High taxes, no jobs, high crime, back in power. Why? Because President Trump made a comment. And when you think about stuff like that, it does make sense why he calls it a 51st state. Because America affected their politics. And they voted in a man as their prime minister, who's not even Canadian. Like, that's the thing. He's not Canadian. He grew up in the UK, in Europe. And yeah, and we have to remember, women voted for this. And this is a man who is refusing to take their free healthcare because, let's be honest, it's not free. And 50% of the times, this set suggests just letting them die. Yeah, so with that free healthcare, he is saying, no, I don't believe you. We're going to flee to America, where she was able to get treatment, but barely.
It's been 2.5 years since my wife first fled Canada to save her life in the United States from stage 4 ovarian cancer after the Canadian healthcare system left her to die.
Pretty much. Well, with socialism, what do you expect? It's not free. Like, you all get everything, which is just unaliving.
Where her only option would have been to kill herself on MAID.
They do that a lot, too. That's the number one country that uses Tylenol for helping someone unalive themselves. It's Canada. They say that for everything. But again, that's their free healthcare that the leftists here in America always love to boast about, but they never want to go to Canada with that free healthcare. Why? Because they know it's terrible. It's not even healthcare, honestly.
Because they had no treatment for her. They lied to her and said that the HIPEC surgery wouldn't ever save her life, but it did. They lost her chemo requisition, so she never got started on that. She didn't even meet her Canadian oncologist. It was always by a phone. Well, he was the guy that lost her.
Free healthcare, everybody. Yep, this is free healthcare. And this is what they want here for America, which would be more unaliving.
Her chemo requisition, too. And every time she went to the hospital begging for help in the ER because her lungs were filling in with fluid and she was drowning in them, they kicked her out and sent her home.
You know what, I bet if she was a non-citizen, they definitely would have, helped her out. Like, it's true.
With opioids, because they didn't have anybody there to drain her lungs. So now she's getting closer to death, and in a wheelchair, in a last-minute decision, she decides to try her luck in the United States. So now we're evacuating her from Vancouver Island on BC ferries.
Smart. Say whatever you want about America. They will at least try to save you. Not Canada. No, they're too far gone socialists. They care more about looking good than actually doing good. And this is what you get with that free healthcare.
To get her into a hospital in Seattle, where they immediately got her into the system, got her started on chemo, and gave her that life-saving HIPEC surgery. Well, during this time, I'm stuck in Canada because I'm not American and I can't just come here for no reason like that. I can't live here. So my wife decides to come back to Canada to be with her family. And during that time, she has another medical emergency and finds herself again in a Canadian hospital, rotting and dying and nearly about to go septic. So again, I have to unplug her from the machines and evacuate her by car and ferry back to the Seattle.
This is going to be more common, by the way. Like, I give it maybe another year, maybe less, but you're going to have a lot more Canadians fleeing the country, especially when they start forcing them in. Oh yeah, that's happening too. That's communism. Why do women vote for this? Like, it happens every time. It happened with China and it happened with Russia. They use feminism and they use the women to take away basically their freedom. Oh, and Iran too. And the Iranian Persian women, they caught on to that whole nonsense because they're just easier to propagandize. Don't get me wrong, men help them too with that, but like it's mostly just women.
Hospital, and she's sick as a dog, puking bile this whole time. They get her into the hospital, and guess what? She is about to go septic, and they give her immediate surgery and save her life again. But she comes back to Canada, and guess what? The cancer's coming back now. So again, she has to leave. Over and over, this pattern continued until finally we decided enough is enough, and we got me a green card. We had to get the help of a Congress lady who rushed the entire process, start to finish, and I got a green card in less than 3 months. That's probably the fastest anybody's ever gotten a green card. Honestly. So here we are in Texas.
And you did it the right way. And we don't care about people coming in from the nation, especially if they're fleeing a tyrannical country like Canada. Of course, you do it the right way.
Texas, and my wife continues to do really well getting state-of-the-art treatment. There's no maid here. Nobody talks about death. And in fact, last week, my wife is doing so well on chemo. Well, she's had already 2 recurrences, and she's going into a 3rd remission. She's back squatting 175 pounds for 5 in the gym just last week. Does that sound like somebody who's ready to die, Canada?
No, but to them, yeah. Again, they can't. Communism never works. Canada, you failed. You failed hard. You 51st state, and you're going to lose Alberta.
Does that sound like somebody who needs to kill themselves with maid? I am so grateful to be here in the United States. I am so grateful especially to be here in Texas. I love Texas. There's state-of-the-art healthcare. There's no waiting. There's no bullshit. There's no death cult here. Just good care. I'm so, so grateful to the United States. Thank you for my green card. Thank you for having me here where I can take care.
And it's crazy because leftists want that type of government. They want it to be Canada, meaning that there would be more people who just bail on a lie because they don't want to try. And here's more signs of Canada's inevitable collapse. Thousands of kids go to a job fair, and they just give them all to old non-citizens because they hate their own population. They want to replace their own population with foreigners.
It has been quite hard, to be honest.
High school students and recent grads say they're sending out job applications all over the place, but aren't hearing back.
Of course not. Again, they're going to get the jobs to the free slave labor, the non-citizens.
Applied for.
If you're a Canadian, they say screw you.
Like over 100 companies, and so far I haven't found any even for an interview.
The competition is tough, even for entry-level gigs. 5,000 people turned out at a recent job fair in Calgary hoping to get hired.
I'm just about to finish grade 12, so it's something I can do full-time.
The latest numbers are out showing some job gains, but not enough to offset the losses to start the year, with the youth unemployment rate sitting at 13.8%.
That's insane. Christ. Oh my God. And the sad thing is it's just going to get worse. Canada, you screwed up. You really screwed up. It's going to import more of the third world into your country.
So far this year, the country has lost about 95,000 jobs. Young workers lost half those jobs, but they represent only 14% of the labor force.
We haven't seen any job creation for that cohort for the past 6 months to more than a year.
So what's behind these numbers? Experts say there's a number of factors tied to economic uncertainty.
Many of those positions are actually being scooped up by people who are taking on second jobs, who are maybe later in their career.
Non-Canadians. They're getting in non-Canadian third worlders. That's what they're doing.
Some younger teens say age itself is the barrier.
I'm 15 and I turn 16 next month. It's a bit difficult to find jobs that are willing to hire younger kids.
That's why so many are turning to job fairs to make a face-to-face impression.
If I could get in front of an employer, I think I'll be able to articulate myself better.
When you get the opportunity to talk to someone.
Well, I can tell you what's the problem. One, Canada is a socialist country, so they don't really make anything. They outsource all their factories out to third world countries, and they're bringing in third worlders to take the jobs of the Canadians. And yeah, there's not enough jobs to go around.
In person, it's easier to connect with one another.
But how do you even get a job without any experience?
Keep positive attitude and just
You be a third worlder in a first world country ran by socialist morons.
keep putting yourself out there because it is going to be tough. It is going to be a competitive market.
What about you? Are you having a hard time finding a job? Let us know in the comments below.
No, because I'm an American. I'm an American. And here's something else that's crazy, but always happened with communist countries. Here's a Liberal Party actually thinking or proposing about if you want to leave or work in the U.S., they're going to force Canadians to pay a large amount of money, which only the people that have money would actually be able to do. So basically, forcing Canadians to stay in the country because they realize communism doesn't work without force.
Offers me a job, 300 grand a year, right? All I have to do is show up at the border, apply for a TN visa, right? And I get this 3-year, like no questions asked, it costs $30. And now I move to Microsoft. We as Canadians have subsidized my education to the tune of, you pick the number, $500,000, right? 500,000.
That's too much, man. And this kind of policy, would there be more Canadians just fleeing through the border illegally? Yeah, they're not going to stay this. This is what happened to Cuba, China, every communist country, Russia, and women vote for this stuff. If women didn't vote for this, I really don't think these parties would be in charge because they're the ones who overwhelmingly vote Democrat, progressive.
And if it's a graduate student, go up, right? 30,000 TN go to the US every year. You want to save yourself $5 to $10 billion? Shut the TN program. And then keep them in, or make them pay their $500,000 so that if they leave, I'm okay with that. You want to go to the US? Give me back my money.
That will collapse this country.
My dad, my mom, you all work every day to offer them.
Nobody there works.
Their education. So we need both sides. We need to fight on one side to make sure that we bring the very best talent of the world because they all want to come here now. It's absolutely wonderful. But you can't have this.
Nobody's moving to Canada. All their businesses are leaving. It's like they're leaving California, New York, all the blue states.
On the other side, you can't let 5 billion or 10 billion a year of your hard-earned cash so that Microsoft can get smarter.
Yeah, this ain't gonna work. Try to force them in, see what happens. Yes, and because of all the nonsense that, yeah, they're going full-blown communist, and places like Alberta wants nothing to do with it. But it's great because Alberta is where all the money comes in, not from the liberal cities like Quebec. Like if Alberta leaves, Canada is done. And it's not just them either. It's other provinces like Ontario. They want to leave before the country collapses and goes full-blown authoritarian because that's where it's going. I mean, like Christ, you're going to keep the Canadian people in via ransom and won't allow them to go? How'd that work out for Cubans, Iranians, for Persians, Russians, any place that comes from a communist socialist country? Because it doesn't work. You have to force them and it always go down to pure tyranny and hunger. Oh, and Cubans too. And look at this.
Edmonton is showing up. Just goes on and on.
Yeah, because they see what happened to Cuba.
Well, I'm there since you're 10 years
And this is incredibly worse for Canada because one thing they really want to do is bring in Chinese troops into their land. But if they do that, they'll have not only the U.S. to deal with, they'll have two countries to deal with, Alberta. And the Albertans hate Canadians.
Peace, it's victory.
Yeah, and it'll either be its own country or it'll just become the 51st state. Either way, bad for Canada, bad for the globalists.
Alberta statehood. Well, there's a group of Albertans that are working together right now to put together a delegation to go to Washington to talk to the Trump administration about Alberta petitioning for U.S. statehood. It's quite evident that we're being governed by idiots in Ottawa who don't understand that we can't afford a trade war with our largest trading partner, and rather than simply apologizing to President Trump for not meeting our NATO commitments and not adequately securing our border, apparently the Trudeau government has decided to declare a trade war and run up trillions of dollars in costs like they did during COVID on a made-up emergency. So there's a number of us in Alberta that have had enough and want to go speak with the Trump administration about the benefits of Alberta joining the United States.
Yeah, they're so doomed. I kind of feel sorry for the Canadians, but I don't at the same time because they voted for this. Like, and it's stupid. But let's finish this off with this and a little lesson. The law of liberty received one who is weak in faith, but not in disputes over doubtful things. For one who believes he may eat all things, but he who is weak only eat vegetables. Let not him who eats despise him who does not eat, and let not him who does not eat judge him. Who eats for God has received him. Who are you to judge another servant to his own master? He stands or fall. Indeed, he will be made to stand, for God is able to make him stand. Thank you. This has been the Navigator Podcast. Please like and subscribe, and please come back again soon. Thank you.